Hey everyone, Angelo here, founder of the Big Gay Family social program, and I've been working over the past several days on putting together all the features of the program and educating everyone about all the new transformation that's available for you with friendships and relationships. So typically when you meet people, it's chaotic and you have no guarantees. You have no protection at all. And so people hurt each other even though they don't want to hurt each other. So social contracts is a new way for you to meet men. You can build protection against hurt, against frustrations, against disappointments, abandonment and rejection, and all the things that right now bother you. You don't have to put up with it. All you got to do is just to create a social contract and share with somebody your social contract. So let's get to it. Let me share with you what a social contract looks like. So what is a social contract? Social contracts are containers for intimacy, healing, and personal transformation. When you use social contracts, you connect faster, deeper, and you build lots and lots of trust together. Social contracts are for enlightened gay men seeking an upgraded experience of a relationship without the frustration and hurt associated with random methods of connecting. And that's very important to emphasize. Random methods of connecting. People connect too randomly right now. There is no clarity. So social contracts give you that clarity. So let's create one. Click on create social contract. So I filled out all this information already. And this social contract has duration 60 days. A choice for how many interactions. So I choose 6 interactions. So 6 interact once every 10 days. And how many behaviors am I going to request from this person? I'm going to request 5 behaviors. So you would use this social contract after you've gotten to know somebody a little bit. You build rapport already. You're noticing that you want to get to know this person, but there are some places where there's some friction showing up. And instead of having to explain every single detail to the person, and instead of continuing to pretend everything is okay, you can create a social contract like this to give the person specificity about how to connect with you. So that's what we're doing here right now. So now, availability. When am I available for those interactions? Mostly on Friday, Saturday, and in the evening or afternoon. So this is a social contract that I would create for somebody who wants to become my friend. So I have time to talk on Friday and Saturday, afternoon and evening. Communication preferences. I really don't like texting. So I upfront say, no, I don't want to be texting at all. Now you can call me, and I prefer scheduled phone calls, not spontaneous calls. So I'm very structure oriented. No texting, and if you call me, we need to specify the time that we have a call and we need to stick to it. And with emails, I prefer short and direct. So I'm going to keep short and direct, just straight up to the point, and let me know what's going on via email. So this makes it very clear that, listen, don't text with me. I don't like it. It's too impersonal. It's too chaotic, too aggressive. With phone calls, let's do structure, and with emails, let's do short and direct. Next, conversational hygiene. What topics should we avoid for this social contract? So this social contract has how many days? Let's go back. It has 60 days. Okay, so for 60 days and 6 interactions, let's have conversations that avoid politics, fashion, vaccines, sex, sports, and alcohol. So for example, I don't want to talk about alcohol or drugs. I'm just giving you an example. I'm not... We can talk about alcohol, but I just want to give you an example. Somebody wants to be sober. Somebody has some specific topic to talk about. For example, weight loss. Somebody's sensitive about that. Or someone is in some kind of special personal development program and they should not be talking about, say, their parents or certain hurt because they are going through some kind of transformation right now. So if there's a topic that you don't want to talk about, you have a chance to specify it here. Isn't this cool? And vaccines or politics, sex, some of these things divide people. And so we want to point it out up front, say, listen, let's avoid these things because we want to get to know each other. We don't want to push each other away, right? Okay, next. Red zone management. So red zone are these behaviors right here: abandonment, ambivalence, sexualization, devaluation, power and control. And these create trauma. So we need to do everything we can to protect ourselves from those behaviors. So the red zone is these 5 behaviors. They create trauma for everyone. Everyone. There is no exception to this. And so here we ask you, or I will ask both of us in this contract to say, listen, we're not going to walk away from each other when this happens. We're going to try to solve it. First of all, we're going to try to avoid it, but if it happens, we're not going to walk away. So we're not going to be afraid of each other's opinions. We will not be cowards who run from each other. We will give each other a chance to fix the issue, and we understand the need to solve our issues. So this is very important, and most people know this already, but it's helpful just to bring it up again to the surface. This is just amazing. This brings so much clarity to problem solving that people are aware of how to do this. They know what to expect. Next, abandonment and rejection. This is huge because we want to avoid this. This is also trauma. This is also not good. So when we choose to interact with each other, there is a certain style that protects us from hurt. And so we here identify the statements that help us remember that. So we recognize each other's value as a human being, so we don't reject each other because we feel uncomfortable. We accept each other's presence as valuable. Just your presence is valuable. You don't have to be my toy for entertainment. And so each of these statements takes this understanding deeper and deeper, and I use all of them. If you want to add your own, then you add your own here. In that way, you create a nice container of protection, a boundary around the abandonment and rejection that can be accidental. So this could be completely accidental if we skip this. If we don't skip this, if you include this in the social contract, he will read this and remember, oh, okay, so something uncomfortable might happen, but I'm not going to be walking away because you are valuable to me just in general as a person. It's good to remember that. Most people forget this stuff. And now let's talk about one of my favorite features of the social contract that I added, and that's the Gay Puritan Module. A lot of men are not interested in being forced into the top and bottom dynamic, and that dynamic is not very productive. And just think about all the men you've met over the past 10, 20 years. Where are they? This dynamic creates trauma bonding, and I want people to have a more conscious choice about this. And actually, for my personal choice, I would use this. So when I meet people, I don't want to be reduced to top or bottom. I really don't. Yes, of course, I understand the easy nature of knowing right up front who is who and why and what, but that takes away from the unknown excitement about how human beings are, and it closes down our options about who we are. So I think the Gay Puritan Module is really a clever way to help people step out of the comfort zone and recognize that we are not sex objects. We really are not. We really are not. I'm sorry, but we are not. Some of us might be craving sex a lot, and I understand that completely. But still, it often creates devaluation of the other person because you have to reduce them to sex when you crave sex so much, right? So we need to be careful about this, and the Gay Puritan Module helps those gay men who are more sensitive to that. I am one of those. I don't want to be your bottom. I don't want to be your top. Really, I don't. It's not fair that everybody's forced into that. So this is now available. You can activate it. You don't have to. If you activate it, I choose all of these, and I don't want to be reduced to genitals. Really, that simple. And if you want to enter into my life, for example, you will look at my contract and you're going to see that, hey, Paul doesn't want to get fucked. And you have to be okay with that. Okay, so next. Emotionalism and sexualization. This is huge because, yes, emotion is important, but sometimes too much emotion does even more hurt because it creates irrationality. Okay, so statements below, these statements over here, relates to how emotions and arousal hijack the mind and create artificial separation. So emotionalism is too much emotion that creates almost like a state of a high, like the person is high on emotion, they're not able to rationally think. And so here we are saying, listen, we're going to have to focus on the process, not emotions. Process. Too much emotion is going to create irrationality and all kinds of strange behaviors. Also, our emotions are not tools for accurate discernment. That's very important because emotions are irrational. They're energies. They're often not integrated into our cognition, into how we think. It takes time for that. It takes conversations for that. It takes exposure to lots of different opinions and ideas for that. So you can mark all of these. I'm going to mark all of them because this will, on top of the Gay Puritan module, this also gives you protection against hyper-emotionalism and hypersexualization. We are not guided by sex. We are guided by the heart. And when I meet people, I want to be guided by the heart, not genitals. I want our sexual impulses not to control our friendship. And I'd like for that to be specified right up front. And one of the great things about these social contracts is that once you create it, the very first conversation that you have with your introduction, your person, is about the social contract, about each of these statements. So the first hour and a half of entering to the social contract, as we speak, as you talk about it, you actually go over each of these and why you selected these, so that everything is right up front in the direct level of awareness. There's no ambiguity about anything. And that's what I love about these social contracts. It's like, typically, you have to be married to somebody for 10 years to talk on such level of detail. Can you imagine? 10 years, maybe even 20 years. Some people have known each other all their lives. They still don't talk to each other on such level of nuance and detail. And look, you can go so deep, so quickly, instantaneously here. This is crazy technology for bringing people closer together. And now we offer declarations now. So this is another boundary protection built into the social contract. So these statements below help us contain all interactions inside a productive and loving space. So I know that this is not the behaviors that you're going to be specifying, but this is just something that we need to have for everyone. So these are for everybody, regardless of what specific behaviors you're going to suggest in a moment. So these are declarations that maintain the symmetry of the human process here. And they have to be there. And if you want to add others, you can add others. And that way, this declaration, so as I am creating this social contract, I'm specifying that as I am going to be asking you to adjust some of your behavior, I'm going to volunteer a whole bunch of behaviors up front. I'm going to follow the process as agreed. I will tell you the truth, even though it's difficult. I'll give you room for mistakes. I'll give you another chance. I mean, come on, think about it. I'm telling you that I'm going to give all of that to you right up front if you agree to this contract. This is amazing. And we have two of these declarations. These are declarations about what you will not do, what you will do. And now declaration part 2, what you're not going to do. I will not walk away for silly reasons. I'm not going to be triggered and walk away. I'm not going to judge you by your looks. I'm not going to turn you into a sex object. I'm not going to blame you for my mistakes. I will not reduce you to genitals, even though I would love to, but I'm not going to. I would love to be searching for your dick and trying to do all kinds of things, but I choose not to. You don't have to be showing me your genitals, your dicks, and things like that. I'm not going to be reactive to my emotions. I'm going to pause and I'm going to think. And I'll definitely not play games and manipulate you. So check this out, my friends. These declarations are these beautiful containers that now create a space for behaviors that I want to include in the social contract. So I specified 5 behaviors that are part of the contract. I already pre-wrote them, and you just add these buttons here and you add your behaviors, or you can remove them and add new ones. So you can have 5, 10, or 15 behaviors in each social contract. And here I included these 5 behaviors I'd like to add. So we've already interacted in this situation. I've known this person, or the people that this contract is for have already been in my life, but I'd like to take it further. I'd like to be more specific now. And now when I create this contract, these behaviors are going to be there, embedded. So notice how specific I get. So I would like to be able to speak more often. So this means that the person takes and monopolizes the conversation a little bit too much. I'd like for there to be more room for me. Next, I'd like for us to use the nonviolent communication framework for communication. So if there are some challenges, I'd like for us to use the NVC framework. That means we talk about the step number 1, observation of the challenge or the problem. Number 2, how it makes the person feel. Number 3, the need. And number 4, the request. I'd like for us to use these frameworks in our communication. Also, I'd like for you to take a personality test and talk about it with me. So both of us would take the MBTI Myers-Briggs personality test, and then we can connect faster. Also, can you be less judgmental about my need to feel heard? And also, can you offer an invitation to dinner or lunch? So notice I can add anything I'd like here that maybe it would be too weird to ask directly on the phone or in person. So now I click next and I add additional notes here. I pre-typed this already, so you can add any additional notes. So here I'm thanking the person for accepting this contract. I'm hopeful that this will give us clarity that we could not have before, and this way our interactions will be more specific and more loving. See you in the contract. And here's my signature, and I create a social contract. And now I get a message: the social contract was created successfully. I click here to view it. And here it is. Here is my social contract. And now the person can read this. And all these sections are here. When conflict happens, what to do, abandonment, rejection, emotionalism. Look, the Gay Puritan Module. Check this out. This is really funny. I love this. And now all the behaviors I'd like to request. See? And now the declarations. I will and I will not. And if you want to accept my social contract, you just click the button here. You put your name. You click next. You sign. And that's it. And you just accepted the new social contract. So now, from this moment on, the social contract is active, and the next conversation you have with each other starts with going over the social contract together and negotiating how it is going to be conducted. This social contract is for how many days? 60 days. Number of interactions, 6. Number of behaviors requested, 5. So you go over that, and you talk about possibility of some challenges, what might stand in the way, and that way this brings you closer together. This clarifies so much that this would take people literally a decade to talk on this level. This is insane. I know it takes about 5 minutes of work to click on the buttons here and do this, but I'm sure you're gonna enjoy all the crazy deep conversations, the connections that will thrive based on this framework of communication. So I'd like to share with you how this works on the video here, so that you see for yourself how easy it is to do this inside Big Gay Family Social Program. And those of you who want to taste it, join us. Visit the website biggayfamily.com, begin enrollment, and taste this innovation, this breakthrough in our ability to communicate with each other, solve conflicts, connect faster and easier, and save tremendous amount of time and hassles of years and years and years of pretense and games and avoidance, no commitment and fear. This breaks through all of that immediately. You just take 10 minutes to create this, you send this to the person that you know, and voila! From that moment on, the plot thickens. From that moment on, the relationship deepens. Okay, my friends, I love this kind of stuff. As you can see, this technology is going to bring us closer together. So I'm super excited. Please join us in the program, and I'll see you on the other side. And as always, before we talk next, love for love, honor for honor. I will fight for you when you fight for me and each other. And this is our collective social contract. Okay, my friends, I'll see you soon.